Good afternoon, this is Freshman English 1, and my name is Holly Boomer, and I'm the instructor for this course. So the first thing I'm going to do is pass out the syllabus, okay, and we'll start there, and then I'll let you know what that little piece of paper is that I gave to you a few minutes ago. My contact information is on the front of this. It tells you it's Freshman English 103, 3-credit course, the day and time. My office hour will be noon to 1. So if you need to see me before class, but I can also stay after class if you need to visit with me about anything. So I can stay after 4. The book for the course is this one. It's Heartbrace Essentials, so it's a little handbook. And then I will give you readings or direct you to links with readings for whatever I need you to read, okay? The little pieces of paper in front of you are for you to give me information. So the first thing I want you to put on this little piece of paper is your name. That's the first thing. The second thing I want you to put on there is a contact number. Preferably your phone number, but if you have another number that you're using, it's fine. Okay? The next thing I want you to put on there is your favorite musical group or artist. Okay. The fourth thing I want you to put on there is your favorite food. And the fifth thing I want you to list is something that you have always wondered about. What makes you curious? Okay? So I need those 5 things on there. How are you doing? Good? Okay. So I'm going to put, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 of you. So I think what I'll do is I'll pair you up. I was going to put you in groups of 3. Well, actually I could do groups of 3 and 1 group of 4. So that would work. So let me number you. So I'll have you be 1, you'll be 2, you'll be 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Thank you very much. So I want all the 1s at this table over here. I want all the 2s at this table over here. And I want the 3s kind of right in here. We might have to move this table to create a little bit of an L. Okay? Thank you. And look at one another and interact. It's part of group dynamics. Even though you don't necessarily want to do that, that's what we'll do because we'll do some group activity. So this kind of works. I might need one of you to swing on a piece of hand over here. This will work. Okay, so you guys all have the syllabus, a copy of the syllabus. So one thing that I want us to start out with right away is we'll go around and we'll do our names and you can introduce to one another, but then we're going to dive into the syllabus because next week we're going to have a quiz over the syllabus. So I want to make sure that you all know what's in it and the important, pertinent parts that are in it. So, what's my name? Okay. last name? Okay, all right. Yeah, you saw that from the first time. I've had students in the third week, you're like, I don't know my instructor's name. I'm like, what? So we don't want that to happen. So one of the first things that we'll do is we'll just go around, and you don't have to give me all of this stuff. What I want you to give me is your name, your favorite musical group or artist, and number 5, something that you've always wondered about or that makes you curious. Because this is a Composition 1 class and we do writing, you basically will be doing compare and contrast and other rhetorical strategies, and because you're going to be doing that, then you will need some of those skills. Work on those skills. Okay. I'll have you with this group right here. Okay? And on the board, because you'll have to talk to the group, so I'll have to have you guys move around and face one another, but this is the information that you need to put on your little sheet of paper. Okay? All right, so I'm going to start on my right-hand side over here. Oh, and I should just let you know, as just important information, that Mr. Shields King is here, and he's going to tape our classes. Part of the impetus for that is to make sure that if you miss class, you can just upload it on YouTube, and you'll get to see the kind of fun things that we're doing. So basically, you're all celebrities. You get to be on camera somewhat. We do a lot of active learning in my class, so basically you will do things in class rather than me just lecturing at you. There will be many things that we'll talk about, but getting you to do is the most important thing. So we'll start here. What is your name? Melissa. You're Melissa, okay. And I might as well be marking these off my page here so I know. Melissa Mesta? Okay, great, thank you. So Melissa, can you tell us what's your favorite musical group or artist? You don't have one? You don't listen to music? You do? Okay. Well, we'll be listening to some music today in your groups, so just be prepared for that piece of it. Okay? So what's something that you're curious about? The universe? Yeah, that's a good answer. That's pretty curious. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. How many of you watched the eclipse? With appropriate glasses, right? Yeah, okay, good. Good, okay, thank you, Melissa. What's your name? Tamaya? Janice? Okay. And what's your favorite musical group? Any particular genre? No, you don't like country? Oh, well, see, there we go. Now we're getting down in the thick of it. So, do you like blues? Jazz? Aha. Now you know what's going to happen. Now I'm going to pull up the recordings and have us listen to that kind of music so you guys know. Okay, so what's something you've wondered about? The future? Okay. All righty, thank you.
My name is Nicholas Redis.
Nicholas Redis. Gotcha, thank you.
And I can't really choose an artist. There's too many to choose from.
Is there a particular genre that you listen to?
Not really. I listen to a bunch.
Okay.
One thing I wonder about is how far scientific research will go before, or in my lifetime. Just, yeah.
Advances?
Yep.
Advances. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. Edward. Okay. You have to let me know too if you guys are using a nickname or go by a shorter name.
I go by Eddie.
By Eddie? Okay. Thank you. Are you Eddie 1?
No.
You're Eddie 2? Okay.
And I don't know how good music.
Do you listen to music?
Yeah.
What do you listen to?
Rap.
Rap? Okay.
I don't really No, curious.
You're not curious. Oh, well, that's going to change. That's going to change in this class. Okay. Thank you, Eddie. What's your name?
Sheldon Clifford.
Sheldon. There you are. Thank you. Okay. Okay. That's a good question. That's a good question. Okay. Thank you, Sheldon.
My name is Dwayne Rooks, but I go by Eddie.
Okay, wait, no. Dwayne, yes, thank you. And you go by Eddie too?
Yeah.
Or Eddie as well? Okay.
I listen to a lot of rap and hip hop.
Okay.
And not too curious about too much.
You're not too curious? Oh, okay. Well, get ready. Strap on. Get ready to go because we're going to parachute out. Okay. What's your name?
My name is Denise.
Okay, Denise. Got you.
My favorite artist is J. Cole, and I'm curious about life on
Life on other planets?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay,
My name is Jonathan Ferguson.
what is it?
Jonathan Ferguson. It's probably not on there.
Yeah, you are. Yes, thank you.
I like to listen to Steve Milligan,
Okay,
and I'm curious about what my life would be like in the next couple years.
in a couple years. Wait till you think about what it's going to be like in 10 years.
Yeah.
20 years, yeah. It's pretty interesting. Okay, thank you. What's your name?
I'm Elisa Chapter.
Yep, found you. I was looking for an E and it's an A. Thank you.
And my favorite fruit is lemon.
Okay.
I'm curious what the future will be like.
The future will be like? For buzzing around in jets and cars? Yeah, it makes me curious too. Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Sarah.
Sarah. Okay.
My favorite artist is Jason Aldean.
Okay.
I've always been interested in history.
History? Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all. The reason it's important that we talk about, like musical artists is because one of the first rhetorical strategies that we're going to look at is compare and contrast. And compare and contrast primarily asks you to look at similarities and differences. So, we may look at jazz recordings and blues recordings and how they might be different from hard rock, pop rock, country music, bluegrass, gospel, any of those. They're all different genres. So we'll look at some of how we can determine what similarities and differences are like. Okay? The first thing that we're going to talk about is what this class is. And so we start with the syllabus, and that's why I put you into groups, is because you're going to talk about and determine what are 3 important items or areas on the syllabus. And so as a group, you can decide that. You look at it, you determine what are the 3 most important things or the 3 really important things or areas on there, because there are little sections on the syllabus. It's really lengthy. The humanities department put this together. I taught for OLC a clear long time ago, back in 1993, and I was here for 13 years. When we did syllabi then, they were maybe 2 to 3 pages at the most. And we basically had just a course schedule of the things you were going to do, the course description, And now, as you can see, we have 15 pages. So it's really shifted and changed and evolved. And when you talk about the price of education, or that's something you're curious about, you know, think in terms of, well, how are things different now than they were, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That can be very different. I need you to be part of this group up here. Sorry, I should have caught you before you sat down. There's the syllabus. You might have to swing to the inside and grab a chair. And on this little sheet of paper, you'll need to put what's on those 5 things. Okay, so basically as a group, someone records in the group. So you have somebody writing down the things that you're thinking about and talking about on what's important. And then when it comes time to report out for your group, someone else becomes the reporter. Okay? Does that make sense? What you need to put on your sheet of paper is all your names in your group. And then you need to list those 3 things that you think are important. At the end of class, we'll talk about what those things are and see if you remember information from your syllabus. Part of reading in academic reading is being able to skim through and find things that might be really important. So I want you guys to have that opportunity to do that. So this is a group activity. I would need you to interact and know one another, so you might need to introduce yourself. I'm not going to require you to get up and shake hands or anything with everybody. You've probably done that already. So I just need you to gather and talk about these things. Okay? And if you have questions, let me know. And I can help you. Well, you might want to skim through your syllabus first so that you can think about, well, what do I think is important on this document? And then you can talk to your partners. There's probably more than 3 important parts, but basically, if you come to a class and you're given a syllabus, you're going to want to know particular things, right? What's the most important thing you want to know?
What we're going to get from this class.
Okay, so is that like a course goal? Or what do you look at? What's the first thing you look at to determine that, what you're going to get from the class?
Learning outcomes.
Learning outcomes, okay. Okay, anything else?
What you're going to expect of us.
Okay, so student responsibilities or student expectations, okay. Anything else? What about this group over here?
What do you guys think? That we should participate properly.
Okay. And that's listed on what page? 5? It tells you how to participate? Okay. 15 pages is a lot of information. So coming into a class, you know, one of the first things I want to know is how much I have to write. How many assignments are there? What is the amount of work? And why do I need to know that? Why do I want to know that? I'm presuming you're all taking more than one class. So you're going to have to manage your workload. You're going to have to manage all of that homework and everything else that's required, and this is a writing class. So probably one of the first things you're interested in is, wow, I wonder how much we're going to write in this class. So how much are you going to write in this class? Eddie, too, tell me from the syllabus what page you've determined that. Does it say?
No.
Keep going. So you've had this before? Okay, well, good. So turn to page, I think it's 5 maybe? No, keep going. Keep going. Oh, does it tell you there? Yeah, tells you. So tell us then what is required on there. What's the first thing? What's this in this first box?
Participation.
Okay. So in-class participation and other assignments. So that's what you're doing in class. So it's participating, and then it's whatever exercises we do in class. Okay? And we'll do hands-on learning in class. I'm not going to lecture to you. What's the next thing? A writing journal? Okay. So that means that you're going to have a notebook that you need to keep with writings. And I'll throw topics out there, and you guys can write and respond to those topics, and I'll help you with the structure of that. Okay. What did you guys find? What's the next thing after writing journal?
Essays.
Essays. How many essays?
4.
4 essays. 4 essays in this class. So that's, you know, quite a few essays when you consider that you revise, right? So it's not just dashing them off and that they're good. Writing is revision. So it's a recursive process which really just means that you're doing it over and over to kind of polish it. That's really what it means. Okay? What else is on that list? Exams, okay. And then, what's the next one? Portfolio. Okay. What is a portfolio? You know? Have you done one before? Eddie, did you have to do one before?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay, you're going to remember this class. What is a portfolio? It's a body of work. So if you're an artist and you have a portfolio, it's a body of your work that you've painted or sketched or, you know, or your ceramic pieces, whatever sculptures, whatever you've done. So for artists, that's what a portfolio is. And you do that because you show them the breadth of your work, you know, how you've evolved in your work. It's the same way for writers. So you'll look at your first essay and you'll look at the span of writing you've done since then, because you should improve. That's just usually how it works. The more you write, the better you get at it. Okay, anything else from what's expected in terms of assignments and grading? Nothing else? Okay. What's something that this group thought was important? Anything else in the syllabus that you think is important?
Evaluation and grading.
Evaluation and grading. So how things are evaluated. How are they on there? What does it say? Is it by points or is it by percentages? Percentages, right. Okay. So your work is graded according to a percentage. Essays are worth a certain percent. Okay. Okay, read through it as thoroughly as you can because we'll quiz over it. All right, the next thing I'm going to give you then is the learning plan. Every week you'll get a learning plan. It'll tell you exactly what we're doing, so you know. Before we go on break, I'll need you to give me your little slips of paper with your name and contact on them. Okay, so the competencies that we are learning is we're going to explore the writing process. And in doing that, we'll analyze pre-writing strategies, writing effective sentences, demonstrating an understanding of standard English, and compare and contrast writing process models. We may not get to all of that today, but that's kind of that whole idea behind exploring the writing process, and then utilizing critical reading and thinking skills. So that means just analysis of writing. You're looking for what is the main idea. Are there topic sentences and summarizing? But some of this, I mean, we don't accomplish it all in one class period, but we start with those pieces so that you guys understand kind of what's expected in analysis, and that's part of critical reading, is your ability to take the whole and take it apart, piece by piece, to try and understand it. Okay, so the one point I want to make is that all writing makes a point. All of it makes a point. From the smallest bit of writing that you do to the largest piece of writing that you've ever written, you're making a point. Writers support their point with evidence. That's all you do in writing. Make a point, support it. Make a point, support it. Now, in some areas, a point that you're trying to make is called an assertion or a claim. When we talk about writing a thesis statement, that's really what you're doing, is you're making an assertion or a claim. You're trying to make a point to that. So you will see that word pop up, or those words pop up. E.g., if there's a period behind it, it means examples. So it might be claim, assertion, thesis. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, now in terms of evidence, what do you guys think about when I talk about evidence?
Sources.
Okay, it can be sources. Any particular kind? Newspaper. Yep, online sites. Interviews, if you're going to interview somebody, that's a source of information. If you get an award for something, that's a piece of information, okay? There is two kinds of evidence, really, formal and informal. And I'll show you why that is the case. Part of when you are writing, when we start out writing, we always talk about description, and we'll do that in just a minute. And we'll get into description. But one thing to remember is that if you're going to write a paper for a class and you're asked to do some research or provide some evidence for it, you need to understand the context of the assignment. If you're writing a narrative story, you may start out with an assertion or claim as, my sister is the best cook in Pennington County. Okay? That's my assertion or my claim. Now I've got to prove it. I've got to support it with some evidence. What kind of evidence do you think I would use to support that claim?
If she's gotten any awards for her country.
Very good, yes. So I might look at awards. What else?
Interviews.
What?
Interviews.
Interviews, yes, interviews. And those can be radio or TV, right? Or print. So maybe, you know, she would get interviewed on that, or she might be doing some cooking on that. What else? What other kinds of things? Could she get asked to cater something, like a big event? Okay. Now, is all of this evidence, is it formal evidence or is it informal evidence, do you think? Or is it a mix? What?
Informal.
Informal, okay. Why do you think that is?
Because it's showing, it's trying to prove a point.
You're trying to prove a point, but you're not going to a database finding it typically. Unless there's like a radio interview or a newspaper print, then you might be able to find some more formal types. Formal type of evidence is anything that's been documented. And if she wins an award, if they hand her an award for her cooking, it may not be documented in any paper or anything like that. If she gets asked to cater, I don't know, just a huge event in Rapid City, let's say Garth Brooks comes to Rapid City and he decides he wants her to cater for his first, 200 fans. That's a big gig. So basically that may not get necessarily reported on and so forth. So some of these things are done in kind of a more of an informal manner. She could win a ribbon at a fair, at a county fair for something that she's done. So right now, or county or state fair, I guess. How many of you go to the Central States Fair in Rapid City? Do any of you go to that? You do? How many go to the rally? Nobody goes to, you go to the rally. Okay, the Central States Fair is going on up in Rapid City right now. And there is a woman there, and she's over in one of the 4-H buildings in the northwest corner of the fairgrounds, and she makes cream puffs. How many of you have had one of those cream puffs? No? She's famous for doing these cream puffs. She's done them for 35 years. And every year she's back at this county fair. And she gets usually a promo spot feature in the Rapid City Journal, and they talk about it because it's kind of a big deal. For 10 days, you're making cream puff stuff. She doesn't bake the cream, the actual puffs. She orders those, but she makes all the fillings and such. So that would be evidence that she's probably a pretty good pastry chef or pretty good at what she does. Okay? So when I go to write, if I'm going to write an essay about this or a narrative descriptive kind of essay, because narration is telling a story. That's what narration is. And description is just using all of your senses to describe things, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But you're using this kind of evidence. Now, if you want to say that retention at community colleges is best achieved through innovative enrollment techniques. Okay, that's a claim. I'm saying retention at community college is best achieved through innovative enrollment techniques. All a claim is, really, all a point or a claim or an assertion is an opinion about a topic. So if you have a topic in mind and you form an opinion about it, that equals a claim. Okay? That's your assertion. Any of those words are fairly interchangeable. So what do you think I'm going to use as evidence to prove that? What does the word retention mean? Anyone know?
How many people come back from the year before?
Yeah. Retention really looks at a span of a year, and if you have returning students over that span of the year. So usually from fall to fall statistics, right? We're keeping track of that. So to prove this, we might be looking at stats, as evidence. We might be looking at particular projects that were successful. What else do you think we'd be looking at? Do we know what innovative enrollment techniques means?
So creative ways to get people to enroll.
Creative ways, thank you, Eddie. It's creative ways to get people to enroll. It's still kind of vague though, right? I mean, and it's purposely vague. In a writing class, that's not the goal, is to be vague. The goal is to be really specific. So you may throw something out there and I may say, can you be more specific? Can you give me a specific example? Because that's really what writing is you're showing your audience. And so in this particular one, this point or assertion could be polished up a little bit more. It could be better. What particular innovative enrollment technique might it be? You know, maybe we send all of those students t-shirts, 3 weeks before classes start. Or we send them, I don't know, 50% off cards at the bookstore right before school starts. I mean, there's different ways to achieve enrollment, and every college is looking for, the golden key to how that works. But you're probably going to use more formal kinds of evidence than you are informal kinds of evidence. You're going to use documented things that work. You're going to look at research and what research shows us in terms of why students behave the way they do. How many of you here have taken a Nessie or Bessie assessment? Have you taken that at all? It's a community college student satisfaction survey, and it asks questions about how satisfied you are with your college experience, but it also asks you things like, how much do you study? How often do you study? How many hours do you set aside for particular things? How satisfied are you with diversified classroom instruction? How satisfied are you with your computer labs? Just pieces of information that give us really more information on why students stay or why they go. And it changes and evolves over the years. It's not the same, it wouldn't have been the same for my group or my generation as it is for yours, because things change. Primarily technology. When you think about the fact that you've been raised with technology, you've been raised with advertising the way that advertising is now, that's a huge shift. I was in college when USA Today came out with their format, which was color, and it wasn't one column newspaper anymore. They had, newspaper columns ended up being 2 or 3, columns wide, which were not the case when I started. That isn't what newspapers look like. So there's been a shift in that. And that's what you need to think about when you're collecting evidence to support your point. So right now, I want you to get out a piece of paper and put your name on it. And you're going to write a thank you card to a contributor for money to a particular cause of yours. Okay? What's the point of a thank you note? To show appreciation. Okay? So, you're showing appreciation is your point. How do you back up your point? You might explain how the money's being used. You might explain what the money goes toward. You might explain how it's a pleasure working with that individual. There's all kinds of things that you can put in there that back up the point that you're trying to make, which is, I really appreciate the fact that you gave our organization money. So, you can make up all the details that you want, but I need you to write a thank you note. And this is the criteria for it, for this one. It's going to look different than a thank you, your next thank you note is going to look a little different than this, but this is the one I want you to do now. Any questions? No? Okay. You make up all the details. So who the contributor is, what your organization is, how much money it is, that's all for you to decide.
So it can be any contributor for any particular reason. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to.
it's pretty broad. It's just an exercise in writing a thank you note. The point is to show appreciation. The support that you give to it is just providing those details. Thank you, Susie Jones, for your donation of $500 to our Save the Dogs Fund. We work very hard at providing food and support and comfort to our canine friends, and your valuable contribution, yak, 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 that's what a thank you note is. You guys have done them before, probably personal ones. In business writing, usually you have to do negative letters and such and things like that. So this is just another method of that. The point is that you're making a point, you're supporting it. That's what you're doing. And you'll turn these in, so that's why you need your name on them. Thank you notes are generally not lengthy, like a letter might be if you're making it, you know, donors give OLC money all the time, and so you have to send out little lengthier letters and explaining how the money is used in most cases. But thank you notes are usually, you know, anywhere from 5 to 6 sentences depending on the length. You're thanking them and then you're explaining what it's used for. So that's what you do. If you're done with that one, then the second and last thank you note I want you to write is write a thank you to your auntie for a favor in a time of need. Okay? Thank you note to your auntie for a favor in a time of need. So not just the regular things that cool aunties do, like bake cookies and things like that, right? It might be when you really needed something in particular and she could provide that at that time. And you can just space down and put it on the same page. In about 4 minutes, we're going to take a 10-minute break. If I were making chocolate chip cookies, you could tell me most of these things. You could touch them. I don't know if you could hear them, but you could see them, taste them, smell them. But you should also be able to tell me, how did they make you feel when you ate that cookie? So feelings are just kind of part of that whole abstract description. So when we talk about description in the senses, we're talking about these things, these 5 things here, and those things are all about the physical senses. So they're concrete things. Okay? Feelings are about abstract things. So for instance, you cannot measure how much sorrow that you have in your heart. You cannot necessarily measure the amount of exhilaration that you have at getting on a carnival ride. Those things are not measurable, so those are abstract. So things like love and joy and sorrow and disappointment and despair and disdain, those words are all words that describe feelings, but they're not measurable, so they become abstract kinds of things. You can still write about them, but they're not the same as these things. right? So you have to really, really use a lot of description to help someone understand your level of joy or your level of excitement or your passion for something. Because it's not going to be quite the same as using these senses with it, okay? So I know that this table, I can feel it, I can scratch it, right? I'm not going to scratch the chalkboard because everybody's going, ew. So those things are really tactile, and that's touch. The sound that I make by scratching it, you're hearing that, right? And you can liken it to something that you know about. You see it, you can hopefully taste it. And then you can maybe even smell it. So those pieces of information are all about concrete kinds of things. And they help us with description because then you can explain, of course, to people what's going on at that particular time, okay? So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a round robin. And a round robin is when you have groups, small groups of students, and they start a story, and I give you a prompt, and then I have you switch, and you give it to the next group. And they continue the story or the scene, okay? And all of it is an attempt to get you to think about description and how you can use all those senses. Okay, so here's the prompt. And again, you'll have a writer and a reader in your group. So, the lady with the pink hat walked into the lobby and a small package dropped from her coat onto the floor and okay. So I'm giving you the ellipses, meaning now you need to complete that scene. So in your groups, what I want you to do is I want you to finish or complete the scene. What's going on with this person? This lady with the pink hat walked into the lobby and a small package dropped from her coat onto the floor. And did it bounce? Did it break? What did it do? Who was the lady? Why was she called a lady? What was she doing wearing a pink hat? Maybe none of those kinds of things even matter, because as you get into the scene, maybe she's not who we think she is. But you create that from your own sense of description, how you can describe things. The lobby of what? Insurance office, bank. What is it? I don't know. So each group, I've got 3 of you. You'll start your piece of paper and you'll write down the prompt, and then you'll continue to write the scene. So you'll need to work together to do that. One person writes, and then when we get done with it, because I'll give you 8 minutes, and then you'll pass it to the next group and they'll continue the scene. And we'll do it 3 times. Use as much description as possible. Okay? That's what you need to do. Use as much description as possible in there. Somebody have a timer on your phone? I didn't bring my phone in, but set it for 8 minutes. And go. You're going to have to talk about this. Quickly. Who's writing it down? You can say no. Honestly. I think I'd make Eddie do it. So you have to talk. How are you going to finish it? Who was the lady? Where's she from? The lady? And you finish the sentence and then continue the same. Who was she? Did she work for the CIA? Yes. So who is she? You're looking at description. What is she doing? Why is she there? And just complete the sentence and then continue the scene. Did the package break? Did it bounce? Did it smoke?
Go from and not say she dropped the package. What is dropped on the floor? And
Did it break?
And it
Did it catch on fire? Did it smoke? It can be anything. You want to continue the scene. You're creating a scene and you can create as much description as possible so that we see it. Okay?
Inside.
Yeah. Sarah, you're with these guys, right? Okay. Help them out. They need some help.
several times.
Started ticking. Oh, that's not good. That's never good when there's a ticking sound. Smoke's not good either. Nor is melting. Some gaseous substance comes up. Is it Elisa? Elisa? So what kind of description can you add? Maybe she swaps her hat out. She really ought to get rid of that pink one and go with the turquoise. What lobby is she in? Okay, keep writing. Just keep supplying as many details as possible.
As she exits school.
How you doing?
We're kind of stuck.
Where are you?
We're not sure what should be inside the package.
It could be anything you want it to be. Where she is? The package fell out, but we don't know if it bounced or skidded or rolled or whatever.
Well, we have open, so.
You're creating a picture, though. That's what you're trying to do. So keep writing as fast as you can and put down as many details.
Just think it was
Did not notice.
expensive looking. Sure it was.
Are there other people around? Okay. How do people respond to that?
They gasped.
They just gasped?
As the lady walked away, they noticed she dropped the package.
So there was no shrieking? What if I was out in the hallway and I dropped a package, a small brown package, and it started smoking? What would you think? In this day and age, you'd all be out of here like that. Nobody'd be hanging around.
One student began yelling.
Was it actually a lady?
It was a man.
There you go.
Okay.
In disguise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Was she wearing Mary Kay makeup? Okay. All right. Oh, you get us on stopwatch, not timer. Okay.
So I'm a student guest as the man. Maybe be like as the lady, the lady.
What did you say?
Okay, so what you want to do, Tanti, is ask Elisa and ask Sarah what they would add to that. Let them read it and see what they would add to it. Or if you have anything to add to it, because it's those details we're trying to get at.
So we can say small,
Picked it up looking confused. You see a woman, a lady with in a pink hat strapping.
How does she get away? She wears the pink hat. She might have to ditch that ensemble.
She calls after her desperately, but she appears not to hear or something.
Now, why would she be in trouble?
she was skipping class.
Oh, well, that's a no-no. What do we got, Daryl? 25 seconds. Everything's on security tape nowadays. Now they're even taping our classroom. Are we at the end?
You and me.
Okay. Now what I want you to do is rip out your page. Wait, put all your names on it, up at the top. And rip out your page, and we're going to swap them, and we're going to continue.
We don't read yet.
Thank you. No. Now you have somebody else's starter. And you have to work with it and continue. Where does this go? Is she alien? What's going on? Another 8 minutes. Actually, 6 minutes.
What is the animal?
Yeah, now. Go, Daryl. You might need to have them actually read it too. Yeah. Have Eddie read it too.
Security opened the package.
That one can use a lot of work, a lot of details. Where do you go from where somebody else has started? Doesn't matter. I mean, you know, you create sentences. You just guys continue the scene. Maybe the package was a decoy. Scrambling away, and she desperately shouts for her, but due to the loud chaos, she didn't hear him. What next? What happened? Listen, I know that you people have all watched soap operas, so you know how it goes. It's like one catastrophe and piece of drama after another. Are any aliens involved? Geez, the last class I had zombies. People had zombies written into it.
What is he in the No, I mean like the star.
Were you able to pick up where they left off?
I think it'd be easier if we hold this right on sentences.
Kara, did you read it? Did it make any sense?
Each one that makes sense.
So, going to example
Remember, try to use your senses. Are you adding smells, things that the character smells, tastes, sees? What are you showing your audience?
before you know this cipher, and before what?
My new notebook is right.
Are there any smells in it? Is the character smelling anything? Is there the taste of acrid smoke in the air? What's going on? Two more minutes. 2 more minutes before we switch, I think. Minute 30. She thanked him for stealing it? Remember, you're creating a picture with your description.
Wow.
Okay, time's up. Go on to the next one. Oh, can you put your names right there or something so that we know who did that part? Did you put your names on that part? Put your names on there. Stop yawning. You're making me yawn. Alrighty. That one. Get this one. Sheldon, did you want to write? Alrighty. Give him details. 6 minutes. Now you're trying to end it. The middle one, you're just trying to create more action. Now you're trying to end it. What kind of ending will it have? This is just soap opera. It's not like we're not solving world peace here. 20 minutes? Oh, 25 seconds. Such a good timekeeper. Why don't you add 2 minutes to it? You guys are such good writers. Okay. You ready? So you end it as well. Okay, so I'm going to take them back to the original tables, right? This was your original. Okay. This was your guys' original. Okay. Okay. Your original. Okay. So now someone who didn't write needs to read it. Read it out loud. So, okay, let's start. Let me start with this back table. You guys, why don't you read yours out loud? Everybody listen.
The lady with the pink hat walked into the lobby and a small package dropped from her coat onto the floor and enveloped. Several times you could hear glass breaking. The students gasped as the lady turned around embarrassed, picking up the package. The students stared at her and some of them whispered or giggled to each other. With the eyes of the strangers beating down on her, she took off in the other direction. With her package in hand, she fled the building, feeling uneasy about her now broken package. She proceeded to her car. Upon opening the package, she heard this made her $200 bottle of wine from France was broken. Her wedding gift was broken. She then brought a cheap wine and put the expensive wine bottle into the cheap bottle. She then proceeded like nothing happened.
Okay. So it was all about wine, right? Like a wine bottle? Okay. All right. Good.
The lady with the pink hat walked into the lobby and small package out. I kind of strip all that up.
So as long as you finish that sentence.
Onto the floor and started taking part of the stuff in the lobby of the bank before the security could adjourn. The security opened the package to find out that it was the timing showed a countdown of 10 minutes. since the time I had started, they were not sure how much time they had before the police showed up. The police have arrived on the scene, but was too late at 3 o'clock. And they're doing the bombing off. Boom, the lady in pink hat was already on the train home. The town never to be seen again, and I tried to track her down to get it done for the box little ones, but
Such luck. Okay. All right. So a bomb. A bomb, not a bottle of wine. All right. What did you guys have? What was the result of yours?
The lady with the pink hat walked into the lobby with a small package dropped in her coat onto the floor and fell open. So I found it and opened it. Inside there was a black watch. The man was a trench coat with black hat. That's how the package. He picked it up and he was the pink hat from the building. He desperately shouted her, but he was Left the little girl in chases Felicia after the lady before she gets to Eddie.
Before she gets to Eddie.
Her vehicles.
Our names are on the side.
Oh.
Oh, after the lady before she gets the phone meeting her, happy for Brandy with the package. The lady with the cat takes the man and his trench coat for his kind of gesture and give him a nice one up. And asked the man out for the man that was always so
By the pink hat the lady was wearing. So now you got romance going on. Oh my goodness. That's just craziness. Okay, good. I mean, you guys are on, you're getting warmed up somewhat. Think about really how difficult it can be on the spot to write that. But there really doesn't, the whole point of a round robin is just to create as much detail as you can, as fast as you can, in telling this story. So did I give you the scholarship?
Yeah.
Okay. The point of the scholarship essay is to write a story about life, whether it is your life or someone you know. And it tells us that you should show your audience through your writing exactly what went on in your life rather than just simply telling how your life went. Explain it, use as much description as possible. And it explains how many paragraphs you need. You need a first paragraph in which you introduce yourself, information about you. You can be as creative as you want with that. Paragraph 2 is your educational experiences to date, how those have been, what those were like. Paragraph 3, your degree plans, your professional goals, and then paragraph 4 is an expression of gratitude. So on the back page of this, it explains 1 to 2 pages in length. You'll have a first draft, which is really your rough draft, and then a final. Use APA style for this, double spaced, and it gives you all the directions for that. Okay? So what I want you to do is, for next week, you need to bring in a draft of this essay, your scholarship essay, okay? And think about the description that you're using, all of that business. Audience is, who's the audience?
What, this paragraph? This essay?
Yeah. Yeah, people awarding the scholarship. It's not unlike doing a resume. You want the job, you're going to do a good resume. It's the same way with the scholarship. Yes? Oh, okay. Who doesn't have one? How did I not give you one? How did that happen? Okay. In your book, or in your LP, it lists what you need to read. Explore pages 2 through 21 in Harbray's Essentials. And then 27 through 37. Okay, and then your LP assignment 1 are thesis statements. So you'll read about thesis which is basically this, your claim. And remember, topic plus opinion equals claim, thesis. Any of those words mean that. So next week, be prepared for a quiz and bring your rough draft and your thesis statements, your attempts at that, okay? Questions? Yes? If you don't have a book, I can photocopy the pages for you. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. We'll have to go photocopy. Any other questions?
You want to?
I want everything, yep, that you did today. Alrighty. Thank you. Thank you.
This is the thesis, right?
What? Thesis statements? Yeah, practice doing that. That's the homework assignment. So in the book it covers that. I think.
Yeah, I need a page. I need
You don't have a book? Developing thesis statements is on page 8. Talks about it, but we talked about it today too. So just remember, they're statements, not questions. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you for coming.